Now joining me on the news to discuss this is Philip Jakpor, Executive Director, Renevlyn Development Initiative. Hello, Philip. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for bringing me on your show this morning.
Now, as it is, we see how heavy rains have resulted in severe flooding in parts of Lagos, disrupting free flow of movement. Now, I would like to know what you make of this.
Well, even from your news report from your correspondent, it's very evident with what happened yesterday and what we anticipate will happen in the next few days that the state of preparedness of the state is questionable. But then it is not just Lagos alone. The state of preparedness for this disaster, which NIMET had warned about, not last month, but I think about 2 or 3 months ago, NIMET had predicted that this would happen. So we will have expected that Lagos, just like other states of the Federation, will have done the same kind of things we started hearing from yesterday, clearing the drainages, opening up the canals, emergency actions. These things should have been done before now. Even the Minister of Works, who ordered for the opening of the drainages and on the major roads in Lagos, these are things that could have been done earlier. It would have saved us this needless chaos which crippled the state yesterday. So for me, I believe these actions are coming a little too late.
Okay. Now, Philip, the rain and flood patterns, actually played ugly in other African countries, not just Nigeria. Countries like South Africa, Zimbabwe, Kenya, Ethiopia, Somalia, the likes last year. But Nigeria seems to be gradually picking up the patterns again with the volume of rains this year. Should we be worried about a more pronounced climate change shockers this year?
Well, I would see what we saw yesterday and what we've been seeing across the Federation in recent time actually started in 2012. It was in 2012 that we had the most catastrophic flood, which I think flooded about 21 states, real flooding. And Lokoja then was the epicenter of the flooding before it emptied into the Atlantic through Bayelsa. But so it has been a steady pattern. It has been growing. It has been increasing. And along with this has also been the early warning systems that have been very, very effective. NIMET is doing a great job. The Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency is doing a great job. But the state level interventions and the agencies that are supposed to respond through some actions, the kind of things we start hearing from yesterday, is where we have the missing link. We need proactiveness. And proactiveness does not mean we are talking about evacuation, opening up the canals when it has already happened, when economic losses are being felt. That's not it. It should be before. So this warning, like I said, came 2 or 3 months ago. We never saw anything. There was no sensitization. There was no action that people could see that, oh, this is a matching order as a result of NIMET warning. It never happened. So what is happening in South Africa and those other places? Yes, it's the same thing. We are all facing, climate impacts in different ways. There's mudslides in South Africa and some other parts of Africa, but we are particularly affected by unusually heavy rains. So if we tackle the canals that are blocked, if we address the issue of people dumping indiscriminate waste on, the drains.
Yes, talking about people dumping a refuse. We also saw a video of that yesterday where a couple actually came out with their trash and dumped it on the water, into the refuse, and then it goes into the waterways and the drainages and blocks these drainages some more. What approach, since you're talking about it, what approach would be necessary to bring about cultural reorientation in that regard?
Well, I think laws exist. The enforcement is where we have the issue. I don't think most people who do these things are not aware that what they are doing ultimately will affect others and then come back to them. But the sanctions are not where we have the problem. So we want to see real penalties, enforcement of the penalties for those who do these kind of things. And then the sensitization should intensify. Beyond adults, also kids, to these things, we should catch them young and make them understand that, look, you don't dump your waste in the middle of the road. You don't dump your waste on somebody else's property. You just have to dump your waste where it is said that you should do that. When we start seeing that, and then when we see responsibility on the part of government, because we also have, beyond the dumping of waste, you also have people who are building on floodplains. Who is giving them permits? What we saw yesterday in the Lekki axis, most houses do not have drains. So who licensed these things? Who permitted these things to happen? So by the time we start seeing sanctions for this kind of actions, I think we will be on the right path. But unfortunately, when the floods start, there's this noise, everybody talking, and then after the rains, we'll go back to life, business as usual. And that's why we continue to have this year in, year out. We'll come back if care is not taken next year to be talking about the same thing. Well, it's time to go beyond talk to action.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much, Philip, for showing up and speaking to us on this.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here.